Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. On this week's episode, it's just going to be me rambling because I kind of didn't realize that I didn't have interviews lined up and things got out of hand really quickly. But I got some things to get you guys caught up with on a funny story about me cutting the grass. And then, yeah, just talking about the bear market, school starting, fall coming in, energy hyperinflating, movies plus is going crazy and a bunch of crazy stuff I'm dealing with there. Mining, do I regret it? I don't know. Let's talk about it. And other stuff like that. So anyways, want to thank our sponsor, the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet from Shift Crypto. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple and use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off your order. Take care of your keys, get them off the exchange, please. It's just a matter of time before they're going to stop you from doing that. So might as well do it now. Get yourself a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. Also, shout out to Upstream Data and their beautiful black box that will silence the noise of those noisy ASICs. And if you, well, they're not ASICs, the chips are the ASICs, but the noisy computer that runs the ASIC. Anyways, uh, you want to get yourself one of those if you're looking to, add on some miners and not really add on any inconvenience. Excuse me, as I cough slash burp, I guess a curp or something. I don't know. But yeah, you don't want to have to worry about the loud noise and everything bothering your spouse or your kids or your parents. You just want to run up an electric bill without them even knowing. So that's why you get a black box. Um, but yeah, go to upstreamdata.ca, check out all the things. They have products, mining equipment, miners themselves if you want to buy some. So check them out. And also Movies Plus. Go to mymoviesplus.com. And I'm going to talk to you guys about what's been going on with Movies Plus and why I've basically been so swamped. And it's all good stuff. But this is why you should probably sign up and use my promo. The annual subscription is $29.99, which is $2.50 a month. But if you use the promo code Cory, Cory, you will get 20% off. So that means you will get 1 year and it'll be $2 a month. So I think we can all afford $2 a month to support some freedom of speech and to get some better content because we have originals, we have exclusives that we're releasing and announcing that will be coming out over the next 6 months. But then we also have a ton of other content. I mean, thousands of titles. So basically, like a lot of the titles that you go to Tubi or other places like that where you watch them for free, but you have to sit there and watch 45 minutes of ads. You can come to Movies Plus, and for $2, you get to watch it ad free. So it's probably a good idea. And then, if you have a spouse that loves Christmas movies, or maybe you yourself love Christmas movies, and you would like to, watch a bunch of Christmas movies, guess what? Christmas time, there's gonna be all the cheesy, hallmarky stuff that my wife likes to watch. And then at Halloween, before that, we're gonna be releasing my last count. I think there will be 100 horror films that we're releasing. So almost enough for you to watch 3 horror films a day through the entire month of October. So you get all that plus our exclusive content for yeah, $2 a month. Promo code Cory. And so yeah, I was behind on doing interviews and about that. I mean, I appreciate you guys as an audience. So like I don't want to just slap any interview together and just throw it out there. Um, great advice Preston gave me down in Miami was he was like, dude, sometimes you just gotta scrap interviews, like so I've done some where I've recorded and it's nothing against the people that were in the interview or whatever, but it just was like, like it just didn't have like much to it, it didn't have much meat on the bone. And so, it's not worth boring you guys with that. And so that's why I'm also self-conscious about whether or not I should keep doing these solo episodes, but you guys listen to them. So, I go with it. I just don't want to I'm afraid if I turn into just doing it every week, then you guys would be really bored and stop listening. because I'm not that entertaining. Like, I mean, Bill Burr does like his Monday morning podcast, and it's like, well, Bill Burr is really, really entertaining, and I'm just some dork that talks about Bitcoin and movies. So, anyways, but enough self deprecation for the time being. But yeah, I just don't want to throw out any episode. And like, I don't want to really reach for an interview. Like, I've found that like early on probably I did this a little bit, but like I would like reach and reach and reach trying to find an interview, like desperate to get somebody. And that worked because I got a lot of great interviews. Like, I can't really think of any that I don't think there's really any that I'm like, oh, that interview sucked, I shouldn't have done it. um but yeah, at this point I'm like, I'm not just going to reach out to people because it's like, oh, hey, I don't have an interview lined up for next week. I should hurry up and slap somebody in there. Hey, who wants to come on? That being said, I do want to keep the plebcast going. And I had Josh Kahn on, who is Thunder Meat, and he did his shitcoiner to Bitcoiner story. So any of you that want to, just hit me up and DM me. Be happy to have you on Twitter. It's just Cory_Tusick. But yeah, those conversations are entertaining to me and valuable, and I just don't want to have any conversation just for the heck of it and throw it out there and have you guys consume it and be bored to death. Anyways, but I do apologize because I had planned on having this lined up and ready to go so that it would be there Monday morning. Like, I've been trying to do it so that it's ready and just published, ready to go, and it hits your little podcast app at 9 o'clock in the morning on Mondays. Um, but it's been crazy with work. I was out of town, so I had like recorded a bunch of interviews and backlogged them and had them published and set up ahead of time to take care of while I was out of town. And then also, uh, and then we just had, we had some kind of sickness run through our household, which, had us down for half a week whenever we came back from the beach. Um, and then yeah, so but then Movies Plus, to get back to that. So we released a movie last Friday. The movie is called The Most Canceled Man in America. It's about the very controversial commentator, political commentator, Nick Fuentes. um and I'll just say this, if you like Google him and you'll see stuff he said, whatever. I don't really agree with the kid. Like, I don't, I agree with him on like, I guess, government overreach, too much like government power and centralized power, stuff like that. Um, but he's not for me, let's just say. And but that's okay. um and like there was somebody that like on Twitter was like, you're supporting someone who, like, we're gonna cause violence, and I was like, no, 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 like, no, I'm not supporting anything, because this documentary is not about his messaging. This documentary is about what happened to him. So, to give you a little preface of what happened before you watch The Most Canceled Man in America, which, by the way, is exclusive on Movies Plus. So if you go to mymoviesplus.com and use the promo code Cory, you will get 20% off, $2 a month. Who can't handle that? Um, so, anyways, The Most Canceled Man in America, it talks about how was uh, he was at the January 6th, I don't know, whatever you call that, riots, insurrection, protests, blah blah blah. And uh, he was there, and somebody who was like, think, supporting like right wing dissidents, like far right wing dissidents. Somebody from the UK was sending Bitcoin to people that were like far right dissidents, and they sent him 500 grand in Bitcoin in January of 2021. Um, and so because of that, basically, like, the government, well, we don't know, you don't know if it's exactly why, but all of a sudden, magically, a couple weeks later, the government seized 500 grand from his bank account. um and I'm like, well, that's screwed up. And then he was put on a no-fly list, and that's also screwed up. I mean, if you're under investigation and he was like charged with a crime or something like that, it's like, okay, I guess it kind of makes sense. Um, you don't want violent, like dangerous people. Uh, there are laws for a reason. As much as I'm a libertarian, you have to have some form of rule of law, but um, it's getting out of control with the centralized powers, blah blah blah. Anyways, so yeah, I just was like, I didn't even know who this kid was. Never heard of him, honestly, in my entire life until it was brought to my attention that this documentary that they made about his experience was initially accepted to a libertarian conference in Vegas, and then once they got this kid Nick to agree to join like a panel, they uninvited the documentary. um and they basically are like, don't want to be associated with this kid and whatever. And it's kind of like a little funny that libertarian film festival or whatever would you know turn away somebody because they don't want their speech there. um so it's funny because because of the censorship is how I found out about it. Like I probably would have never heard of the kid. I don't know. And and it's funny, like people like they sit there like, if they know me, they know, like, I'm a Christian Catholic, he's a Christian Catholic, like, so it's just like people would be like, oh, you probably agree with everything. But guess what? I don't agree with everybody on anything. Like my wife, basically, except for my ability with my wife, there's probably a little bit of disagreement on how well I can remember things, because I claim I can remember everything. And when I say that, I think that she passed out with how far back her eyes rolled into her head. Um, but yeah, I just, people are going to be disagree. People aren't going to like everyone's opinion. It is what it is. I don't care. Nick can say whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. Just don't harm other people. Don't infringe on other people's freedoms, and you should be fine. It's kind of like a libertarian mind. The basis of a libertarian mindset is do as you wish, as so long as you don't infringe on other people's freedoms. um so anyway, so yeah, I got a wind of this documentary getting canceled from a libertarian festival. I was like, well, you know Movies Plus is the freedom of speech platform, so I'm gonna go for it. And yeah, I we watched it. And the first, like, the second half talks a lot about like his political movement and stuff like that, but I mean, it's just about what he's doing. Not like talking about his messaging and blah blah blah, but the things that people think are controversial about him or whatever, bad things that he says, are not in this documentary. This documentary is about what happened to him. And like, so how screwed up is that he got banned from every platform. He got put on the no-fly list. He got $500,000 seized from his bank account, um, with not being charged with a crime. And it's just, so the story was like, well, this story needs to be told. Um, so, we are the freedom of speech platform, and that's what we stand for. And, I people will sit there and look at our platform and go, well, you guys must be like, super right wing or whatever. And it's like, I'm probably like, I guess, center right, um on the political spectrum, but like it doesn't really matter. Like, and I kind of vary on like multiple topics, like multiple things. Subjects. I'm probably actually a little bit more left leaning on one, and a little bit more right leaning on a certain topic. And so it's just like, people are probably gonna pigeonhole us, be like, you're some right wing extremist platform, blah blah blah. But the only reason that it will look that way, because we have a documentary about the Trump Russiagate hoax, is because we're supporting free speech, and currently the right is what is being censored by free speech, like, or censored more than the left. That's just what's happening at the moment. But my message to everyone on the left that may be upset by the fact that we have right wing stuff there is, first of all, like, I think Nick's doc was like sandwiched between like a documentary about the gay marriage rights battle against the Mormon Church in Utah, and one about Modern Day Slavery, which is about how there's like, the like a very disproportionate amount of African Americans that are in prison, as opposed to every other race. So, you know, like if you look at our platform, it's like across the board, like we are supporting every voice. And I don't think anybody should really have a problem with that. Like, I don't know, I don't understand why anyone would really have a problem with that. Like, if you're listening to this and you're upset right now, it's like, well, I mean, we're just giving voices to everybody. Um, so the danger that you get into danger whenever you're silencing voices. That's when you get into danger. Um, for example, in dictators in the past, when they seize control of the media and silence all dissidents, that becomes a problem. It's not the fact that the bad person had a microphone and was talking. It's the fact that the bad person had a microphone and then no one else did. That's the problem. So, anyways, that's my stance on it. And if you want to watch it, I mean, it's really chilling to watch like what he went through, getting silenced and whatnot. So even if you're someone that can't even stand him at all or whatever, just watch the half of the movie or whatever where he really talks about like everything that happened, and you'll see. And if you're a Bitcoiner, you get it. Like you're like, this should not be happening. This is not the United States of America. This isn't something that should be happening. So it's all those dangers that we have in this current surveillance state, and thankfully there's enough freedom here in the United States that freedom shall prevail, because there's enough people standing up for it. So if you could support us at Movies Plus, it would be grand because we have big things in store. And we have, so that movie is exclusively on us. We're releasing our first original film at the end of September called Welcome Home. And Welcome Home is a film about a Iraq War veteran that comes home. He's a Marine, comes home dealing with PTSD, and he's an African American, and he is reconnecting with his old love, who is a white girl, and white supremacists are trying to put a stop to that. And so he, goes on a rampage at one point and hunts them down. And it's a good story. It's a good a movie by like David Lugo. I forget Matt's last, Matt Schwartz, I believe. Sorry, Matt, if you're listening. But David, I know well because David's one of the partners at Movies Plus. It's his first film. Um, so yeah, it's a Movies Plus original. And then we have like the month of October, all the Halloween movies, like at least three a day that you could watch, coming out. And then on top of that, in November, there's an announcement. I can't say exactly yet, but it is an exclusive docu series. I think it's long enough that it's going to be a docu series, probably like a 4-part docu series. And it's about a figure that everyone will know who this person is when they see his face. um, Made international headlines, and nobody's heard from him. We have the only interview. And also kind of blows up the narrative of the committee investigating the insurrection and all that. So, um, yeah, but the guy's also crazy, so it's just a very entertaining one. Then we have another one coming out after that. Just tons of exciting stuff. So I've been swamped with all that because basically we had to prepare. Like, are we going to get silenced? Are people going to be, attacking us and all that kind of stuff? So we had to really like, cross our T's and dot our I's to be like, look, we're not, we don't support movements or anything like that at Movies Plus. We're just giving people a place for their voices to not be silenced. Um, and so it's been a little overwhelming and stressful, and craziness. Like we had like a glitch with the site for like a brief second, and I was like freaking out, thinking that it was like, oh my god, it's going down, like they're coming after us, they're shutting everything down. Klaus Schwab is sitting there with his finger on the button, turning off the Movies Plus site. So anyways, but and if you download our app, if you're one of the, oh God, at this point it's like 350,000 downloads, I think. If you're one of the 350,000 people that have downloaded our app, please give us a little review. Tell us how it's going. Helps us boost up the app store. Um, and yeah, so that's what I got for that. And then I mean, it's also been just hard. Like, has anyone else been dealing with the bear market blues? Like, it's just on Bitcoin Twitter, it's very sad. Everyone's very quiet. Nobody's really happy. Um, and the thing is, you should be happy. This is the best time in the world to buy Bitcoin. You can buy so much Bitcoin for so cheap. Um, but people get sad if they were too reliant on number go up. I am guilty of that. I've done that in the past. Go to look at my pinned tweet with my Bitcoin magazine article where I talked about I thought this time was different. I've learned my lesson. Probably like I don't know, 12 months, 13 months into my lesson of depending too much on number go up. Um, and yeah, it's this is where you can make life changing money if you are really focused. Crush it in the I keep saying crush it in the fiat mining world. So mine as much fiat dollars as you can, and whatever you can safely put away for long-term savings, then put it into Bitcoin and forget about it and just keep doing that. And be safe with your money. Don't leverage yourself at all. Don't don't take out debt. Jesus. I mean, the amount of people that like legit like Bitcoiners been around for a while that I know of. Nobody that you probably know. I mean, you could probably tell at this point who leveraged and lost. Um, but yeah, people had some trouble. And then they turned to the bleach, and then they got sad. Um, so they got sad. Yeah, I don't know. Bear market blues. You gotta tough it out. This is if you want to be like if you want to hang in there if you want to be there for the good times, you got to be there for the bad times. And everybody's just kind of like, oh, it's so sad. I wish Bitcoin would go up. Price prediction, it's going up. Um, everybody just gets too dependent on it. Just everybody stop caring about the price. Um, stop, just buy it, hold on to it with money that you can save for long term, and I'm pretty sure you'll be okay. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the bear market blues. Um, you know, everything with the Bitcoin and like anything with Bitcoin is getting low engagement, tweets about it. Nobody cares. Everybody's sad. It's dead. It's over. Um, but we've seen this story play out before. So us newbies, we have the advantage of seeing what our colleagues that have been through it before have done, and they've lived through it, and they made it to the other side, and they're better for it. So follow their lead, because we know. I mean, think about the original bear market. Whenever you're like back in like 2011 or something, you'd be like, this was the stupidest thing I ever did in my life. Why did I put my money into this? It's over. Now we can kind of see we've seen time and time again. There's a cycle to this, for better or for worse, and it's just gonna be a little rough right now because the hard part is it's a hedge against inflation. Which I mean that's the good thing, but the hard part about it being a hedge against inflation is it's not necessarily, I've learned, a hedge against inflation in the immediacy. Um, but before I get into that, just make sure you guys get your keys off the exchange. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off and get yourself the beautiful, sleek, sexy blah, 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 Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. I should beatbox a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. I should beatbox about the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. That's what I'll do. I'll beatbox. I won't. I got to practice. Um, I think I might have told this story before on the podcast, but like the best beatboxer I've ever met in my life was a priest from like, oh God, where was he from? Like South America. He was unbelievable. Like sounded like an entire full band was playing and it was just his mouth. It was incredible. Anyways, so yeah, gonna beatbox about the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. Get yourself one, take care of yourself. But yeah, the hyperinflation, like we're protecting ourselves from it with Bitcoin. But that's why I learned that you should only be buying Bitcoin that is your long-term savings, really, because in the short term, it is not because it is not the protection against inflation in the short term, and I don't think that's what it was designed to do. As we saw with gold in the lead up to the Weimar Republic's collapse, it was very volatile. So in the short term, it's going to be very volatile, and so the price of Bitcoin went from like at the beginning of summer, like uh 40 some thousand, mid 30s, down to as low as like 18,000 over the course of the summer. Meanwhile, the price of gas hit all-time highs, and did the opposite through the summer. So um yeah, I just, everybody be wary of that. But I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the stories, and it's really sad what's going on in Europe. And I think Europe is going to have a really, like, not to put a somber, sobering tone on it, but I think it's going to be really, really, really ugly winter in Europe. And it's not all money debasement related. We all know that they printed the money to infinity, but it's a combination of I think, the money printing and what's going on with the war. That all of a sudden, like, I saw people in Germany. I think it was, I'm sure everybody saw it, was like the bakery in Germany whose and her monthly energy bill was like $1,000 or €1,000 a month, and it is like increasing overnight, and it'll now be like 4,500 euros a month. Like, that's insane. Like, businesses like that just they'll go right out of business. They'll be done. There's nothing they can do about it. So yeah, that stuff is nuts. And it's really sad to see. But what's even sadder than people losing their businesses is that, there will be people that lose their lives, unfortunately, because of a cold winter with energy shortages, people's power getting shut off, people freezing, food becoming scarce. Um, just becomes a problem, and then it kind of turns. It should turn everybody's attention towards these horrific ESG laws that are being put in place, and these standards that are being set that are completely screwing over everything, because it's impossible to meet those standards and live a life that is fruitful and prosperous. Um, but that's not what the point of the ESG is. It's about control. So, you know, if you're in Europe, I pray for you. I feel really bad, and I hope that you are able to figure it out. If you can leave Europe, then probably would be what I would do. But if you're stuck there, you'll be fine. Rely on your fellow plebs. Use resources that you have at your disposal, and figure it out. And it's just going to be tough, and it makes me very sad to think about that reality, um, because it's coming, and it's, I mean, like, overnight your energy bill quadruples. I don't think anybody can really afford that. Like, other than the 1%, I don't think anybody can afford that. So it just basically is uh, in, in, instant bankruptcy, and it's very sad. Um, so yeah, well, to give you guys something to smile about that's on a better note than that would be the story of me cutting grass. So we were gone for a little bit, and the grass, got a little bit taller than usual. And I was walking through the one part of the yard that the kids play in and, just cleaning up like baseballs and kickballs and footballs and baseball bats, chalk, trucks, everything, if you have kids, like it's just becomes a playground or a toy store everywhere. So I go through, like clean up all the stuff that I find so I don't run over anything in the lawn with the lawnmower. And I stepped like in an area that like felt like there was a hole there. And I was like, that's weird. I don't remember a hole being there. And I was kind of wondering, like, is it just something that like maybe sunk down a little bit? Like maybe there was like a molehill that was, a mole dug it. I don't know. Like, so I just wanted to see, like, is it like a big hole or is it just something shifted in the ground a little bit? And the grass is really tall, so I can't really see anything. So I'm like, oh, I'll just push my foot on it. And I push my foot down on it, and it was a yellow jacket's nest, and they were not happy that I stomped on their nest. Um, and I got stung, I think 20 times. Um, it was real. I mean, I'm running into the house like, God, son of a bitch, God, like, just swearing at the top of my lungs and getting stung like crazy. I get into the house and sorry, shield your eyes, people that don't, ladies, but the to give you not to give you too much of a description, but I mean, you got bees everywhere. I literally like stripped down everything off of me because they were under my pants and under my shirt and everything. I'm sitting there like my wife comes around the corner and she's I'm like standing in the kitchen butt naked with tennis shoes on. And I'm just sitting there like, ah, oh, I'm in so much pain. She's like, what the hell is going on? Um, so I said, hey baby, no kidding. um, yeah, she probably wants me to cut the grass more often. If that was what would happen. But yeah, so that was fun. And then I had to wait to see if I was allergic to the reaction, or had an allergic reaction. I did not. Um, so then I decided, I mean, we have plenty of acres that needed cut. So I was like, I'll just avoid that part of the yard and I will go and cut everything else. So cut everything else. That night, I spray like the yellow jacket spray that you can spray into the holes and it kills them or whatever. Put rocks on top of it so they can't escape. Problem solved. So the next day, I get back on the tractor and I go to that part of the yard and I'm like nervous the whole time because I'm like, I am gonna get stung by something. Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. End up being fine. The last thing I do is I inside our pool fence, we have like a little patch of grass, which I want to turn into a putting green, but my wife does not. So we'll see who wins. We have many, many years to fight about that and see who wins. That's not really a fight, but to for me to wager and keep trying. But anyways, yeah. So the little area of grass, it has I'm cutting it. I take the push mower in there because it's just real small. I'm cutting it, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting stung again like crazy. And I hit another yellow jacket nest. So they're like stinging me like crazy, and to give you an idea, so there's like the access to the pool that is at the front that like we go from the house into the pool, and there's a lock on that so the kids can't go in, like a combination lock, and then on the back side there's another entrance, and I just really the only time I use that is to take the push mower in and out. Um and so that was the one that was open, and I'm getting stung and I'm like, I can't go out the front. Like, I'm not going to sit there while I'm getting stung, be able to like do a combination lock and get it open. And I'm like, it's too long for me to run out the back, run all the way around the yard and get into the house. And I just am decide to take a plunge in the pool. We had the cover on, so fortunately we have steps that go down in, so I was able to like go down the steps in the pool, push the cover back. But yeah, I went in with my shoes and all my clothes on, and then it was fun because I'm in there and under the water inside my shirt is a bee that just keeps stinging me. It's absolutely nuts. So I think I got stung at least another 10 times. Um, there were like 7 bees floating in the water with me that were all dying, and I pushed them all into the filter. Um, but yeah, it was fun because the yellow jackets, I found out, they don't lose their stinger, which is good and bad because it doesn't leave the stinger in you, the venom doesn't stay in, blah blah blah. Bad side of that is that they can keep coming after you. So yeah, I got stung a bunch of times, and then I was just sitting there waiting for the like nest to calm down. And then my wife comes out on the deck and sees me in all my clothes in the water, and she goes, "What you doing?" And I was like, hit another nest." And she was like, okay. I guess she wasn't as pleased at that time I kept my clothes on. But anyways, so and a little bit more just to touch on Movies Plus. Like, if we really appreciate you guys supporting us, we're going in the right direction. Our subscriptions are climbing. Um, and it helps us create content that you guys want to see. So we have a ton of Bitcoin content, you know that. But supporting us, somebody said they were like looking at it as a vote for free speech by signing up for Movies Plus. So I'm going with that. Vote for free speech, but like besides that, like it's not, I'm not like, raking in the dough off of it. It's, maybe someday if we get like acquired by some company or whatever, and we sell it, then then I can rake in the dough. Then I don't know. My point being is that like I hate asking for people for money because it sounds bad, but we're providing a good value. So I think that it is money well spent on your part, but also just to give you guys an insight as to where your money goes. Like there's people I need to hire. Um, like we have a very incredibly small team right now, and it's just a very small team of us doing. I mean, I'm not trying to say like, oh, everybody else doesn't do anything. Everybody else has all other responsibilities. But like when it comes to Movies Plus, I do probably 70% of the stuff that is required. So, yeah, it's a headache, and I need help with it. And so your support helps us as we continue to rack up subscriptions. That increases our cash flows and allows us to bring on staff members. And yeah, there's some great Bitcoiners I'd love to have as staff members. And it'd be a great thing that if we could eventually grow to the point where we're adding more and more and more, that maybe you, the listener, could work for Movies Plus someday and be a part of a company that is owned by a Bitcoin maximalist, a freedom maximalist, and you know, is I guess we're based is what the kids say. So yeah, that. And I mean, hey, this is fall time. School's getting back in, which makes me sad. I don't understand parents that like when their kids go back to school. I enjoy being around my kids, so makes me sad. But football season's starting, and I will say a word of advice to anyone: don't get caught up in the I can't focus on sports ball because Bitcoin's too important and blah blah blah. You got to have some outlets. Watch some football, watch whatever sport you really like, enjoy it. You got to have some outlets because you will snap if you are just wired to Bitcoin 24/7. Um, so yeah, so have some fun in life. And oh, mining. Geez, I might have picked the worst possible time to start mining. I don't know. Because it's basically a DCA machine at this point. A an expensive DCA machine. Um, So, do I regret it? No. I mean, I regret it in the sense that I wish I had the Bitcoin. I don't know. I guess I don't regret it, but I'll just say it's definitely not like the most insanely profitable thing in the world. Um, so I'm sure a couple of you are on that journey as well and experiencing it. So I'm just looking at it as a DCA machine right now to add to my stack. and but the difficulty just jumped 9%, and we're like at ridiculously low prices. So this is going to push people. I think the hash price went to 8 cents, which I think means that you have to like be getting electricity at 8 cents a kilowatt to be profitable. So I don't know if I'm going to be profitable this next month, but we'll find out. Um, so yeah, hang in there, everybody. The bear market blues, they suck, but we will get through this together. And please support my movies, or mymoviesplus.com is the website. My streaming platform, Movies Plus, is what I'm asking you to support. And it goes a long way, and we really appreciate it. And also, our friends at Shift Crypto, go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin Made Simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin Made Simple to get 5% off and secure your keys. But I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate you guys listening and taking the time out of your day. And I will talk to you guys next week.